What is up, people? What is up, people? What is up, people? It is your boy MM2K of PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, Geeks, Cloud Dosage, you name it, I'm there. Back again with another episode of NRO Podcast. This is, or not NRO Podcast, excuse me, Jesus Christ. I'm running and fumbling and trying to do 8 billion different things all at once. I haven't had my breakfast yet, which is my protein shake here. So bear with me. This is the show where we talk about the latest and greatest hot topic in the AAA genre defining gaming news space. And we do it in podcast form. And man, oh man, oh man, do we have a special one for you today. I've been up since I didn't have to work today. I was off today because there's a winter storm coming and I didn't expect it to. I expected it to be a problem. Cold Blood Sensei, he said Xbox is an awesome Netflix player. Hold on, let me get my content my content reader up here. Where the hell is it at? Oh, come on, Google. Content creation. There we go. Where is my? There we go. It's moving around my bookmarks. What the hell's going on here? All right. Home. Oh, log in. Ah, that's right, because I got to resync everything. Okay, now chat is enabled, dashboard. There we go. Cold Blood says Xbox is an awesome Netflix player. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, MM2K, with the special topic: why Xbox may be tuning out its most diehard fans. And I might add to that, and they deserve to. But before we get into all that, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and rock those bells for notifications. If you're watching this on VOD, if you're watching this via Twitch on the HNDC, do us a huge favor, man. Consider following and subbing. We got a lot of great behind the scenes content. As a matter of fact, right after this, I'm creating a video, a short form video for the YouTube channel. And then I'm going to do like a mini cast on this whole Larian Baldur's Gate thing. Then I'm gonna take a break because I gotta shovel some snow, and then I get around 1 o'clock, because at 3 o'clock I gotta shut down today because because this snow is horrible. I gotta shut down shop at 3 o'clock today, where I normally shut down shop at 4. 1 o'clock I want to play some games. So if Cold Blood is around to do some Remnant, we'll be doing that. If not, I'll find something to play. And Cold Blood, that'll be 7 your time. So I don't know if you're available at 7 your time to do some Remnant, because I only got, like, normally we would have until from 7 to 10 your time, but I got to get out here and get this snow. Like, my wife has called me 5 times, please, before I get home, please shovel the snow. He said Redfall. Did I say Redfall? Oh, hell no. I meant Remnant. Yeah, let's do some Remnant. Remnant 2. Damn. I got Xbox on the brain. Like my brother Tim Dog said, I'm begging for Xbox games, man. But that's an interesting point, Cold Blood. I'm glad I made that snafu. I want to make it abundantly clear that in me saying this, I'm not saying I want Xbox to go multi-plat. I'm not saying that. If I had it my way, even though I enjoy PC Game Pass, Xbox would be fighting for exclusive content, great exclusive content, the way that they did in the 360 era. They are clearly not shaped for that battle. They don't have the personnel for that battle. They have a personnel that's designed to placate to an audience and try to maximize profits. That's what this audience is for. And they placate to the audience not through its games, but through its marketing. Paul G forever in the house. He says it's over for Xbox, unfortunately. Yeah, as far as an ecosystem with dedicated content, meaning when I say no. We're going to soon start purging the term exclusive for dedicated. Like, Xbox games soon will not be considered exclusive. They will just be considered dedicated. What do I mean by that? Well, you know you're going to get an Xbox game on an Xbox platform, ecosystem, or service. So it's dedicated to that service. Well, you may not always get it on another platform, but you may likely get it. So Xbox is abandoning the idea of exclusivity for dedicated. You know for sure you're getting the game with us. That's what you got to look forward to. But that is the antithesis of the entire console war, what it's all about. That doesn't hold weight, and that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything in the discussions that we're having here. Doesn't necessarily mean that Xbox can't see some success. I don't think so. I know Microsoft Gaming is going to be fine. That's the parent company in all this. Microsoft Gaming is going to be fine. The question is, will Xbox as an ecosystem that no longer operates with exclusives, but deals in dedicated games rather, will that survive? That's the question. I think it can, but is it going to be something that is a lure to AAA genre defining gamers? In that sense, I would say, yeah, it's in trouble. And the reason why I bring that up, because you guys might say, well, some of you that are listening might say, well, why are you putting everything on the back of AAA genre defining gamers? There's other gamers out there. Sure, but the genre defining AAA gamer is an anchor for success in this market. And what Xbox is looking to do has not been done by an ecosystem yet. This is new territory. One that acts in its own ecosystem prism, but then also puts its games elsewhere. There's nothing that operates like that. I mean, yeah, there are subscription services like Ubisoft Plus and EA Play, formerly Origins, whatever, that will have a subscription service like that. But in whole ecosystem, there is no precedent for this. So will they see success here? I don't know. There's no precedent to say that there will be success here. And as things are currently going, it's not seeing success. Why? Because Game Pass has now been pushed back to, it's only going to be 15% of our business. The console is only, the console is losing 3-1 to PlayStation. And the cloud and the PC is not filling in the gaps. Yeah, there are extra stream revenue possibilities, but cloud is still in its infancy, and PC, it's not filling up the gaps. Why? Because in order to play these games, you got to have components that only 1 to 5% of PC gamers have. So we look at PC gamers and we say, there's over 1 billion Steam accounts. Look at the demographic of those Steam accounts. Only 1 to 5% of them have the components, have the rigs that can play these games. So when they say PC gaming is better than your console or whatever, I always say, is your PC better than my console? And then they get quiet just like that. So yeah, it's a lot to talk about, a lot to parse. When you have these conversations with the less credible or the less intelligent circles, they try to blur everything together and make it a trivial discussion of, PlayStation AAA games are not sustainable. They're losing money. Meanwhile, they're selling like gangbusters. You're putting all your AAA games in a subscription service day and date. People are finessing the games like how they did Starfield, meaning instead of you getting $70 for Starfield, people played it for $15 and then walked away. Opposed to where if it was just available for sale, they couldn't just walk away for paying $15. So you're telling me that business model is more lucrative, where you're putting AAA games that cost hundreds of millions of dollars in a subscription service, and a subscription service is not meeting its goals. That's sustainable. But God of War selling 18 million, or Horizon series selling 22 million, or even Bloodborne, that's not lucrative. See, when you have these discussions in these less intelligent circles, you're always going to be ass out. And then you run into a situation where I saw it over the weekend in Cold Blood. Me and him was laughing and joking about this. Shout out to King Thrash. King Thrash had this debate with this dude that was beyond comical. I don't know who this guy is. He reminded me of my son. My son has been watching some of these quote unquote salt miner creators, and he's coming to me, giving me rhetoric about how Xbox is this and how Xbox is that. And he's a PC gamer, right? And I said, well, do you have Game Pass? No. What Xbox games have you bought and you playing? Oh, well, I played Master Chief Collection last year. Like, shut the F up. Like, why are you capping? Oh, this this YouTube video. I said, you're talking about this person and that person. Let me explain to you what this person and that person is doing. They're placating to an audience because you guys are so gullible, because you're mad that PlayStation feels like its games are premium, so you got to get a PlayStation to get it. And you couldn't find one, or you couldn't afford one, because I ain't giving you $500. You better go get you a damn job. And therefore you're mad. Where Xbox puts its games everywhere. But you got to understand why Xbox does that. Xbox has to do that because their games are not deemed that valuable to where people will flock to the ecosystem. So they got to bring the games to you, where PlayStation is different. So it's created this little cabal within the PC gaming community where it's cool to hate on PlayStation and then make up excuses for Xbox. And these PC gamers, and it's been already discovered that they're not even playing these games that they're capping for. And then in this debate that King Thrash had with this one guy, when they were doing the math, the cost of his Game Pass subscription, which he wasn't being honest about, he said Game Pass is $14. No, mammy jammy. Game Pass is $17 and change with tax. So when you multiply that and you look at the fact that you're only playing like 3 games out of there, maybe 2 for the year, you're overpaying. You're overpaying. It's not like me, who I adore Ubisoft. So Ubisoft for me, after tax, is like $180, right? No, I'm sorry. It's hold on, let me do the math real quick. Let's do the math real quick. I'm sorry. Where is my calculator? Why do they keep putting my calculator up there? Okay. So Ubisoft for me is, let me run that back. I did that wrong. 1749. Oops. They got to put decimal in times 12. So it's 209. It's $209 a month for me, right? I mean, a year. It's $209.88 a year for me, including tax. You got to include that, right? So when I look at the cost of AAA games right now, which when the tax is added is $74.99, right? Times what, 3? Come on, I just hit the times button, 3. Oh, hold on one second, y'all. So let me unmute this. Okay, back, y'all. Sorry about that. So, what King Thrash was doing in the interview that I was talking about, or the debate, was he had somebody that listened to these salt miner PC gamers that now want to hate on Xbox. I mean, hate on PlayStation. And he got his facts all wrong. And what King Thrash was trying to show him, just like how I illustrated in my example with what do you call it? With Ubisoft Plus, is that Ubisoft drops about 3 games a year, right? So if I were to buy those games a la carte, I would be paying like $220. But because I have Ubisoft Plus, I essentially pay $209 and I get access to a whole boatload of games. Games that I would buy, that I know I would buy, games that maybe I would be on the fence on that I wouldn't. I get access to all those games. So I'm coming out and I'm paying less for Ubisoft Plus than I would be had I bought the games a la carte. So actually for Ubisoft, that would be a loss, right? That would be a loss if only the people that bought the games regularly, and that would pay the 300. I mean, would pay for the 3 games if they got into the subscription service. Because I'm getting a savings with Ubisoft Plus, so that's a loss. And what King Ferris was trying to explain to this guy is that, look, it's not like you would buy all these games. You know, you're not going to buy all of the games, but by you having like 4 games or something like that in there, in your case, you're overpaying, so you're paying more, but the average gamer who, like me, is you know, creating a savings, they're giving them less. And what he's saying is, look, it's stupid for you in your case because you're paying more. You're paying more for to access these games where you could just buy them a la carte and own the license. That's you, but you don't represent the entire Game Pass community. The entire Game Pass community would normally buy 4 or more games, and they're not buying them now. So that's actually a loss for Microsoft. He's trying to explain this to this guy, and the guy's like, show me links, show me links. When this is stuff that's already known. So he hit him with a double whammy. He let him know, look, number one, your case is unique. Unlike many of us, you hardly play any games. And he said, he asked him, how many games are you even trying? And he's like, oh, I tried this game or that game. I work a lot. Okay, if you work a lot and you don't have a lot of time to play games, then it sounds like to me, you need to have a more casual approach. Just buy the games that you want and go find a free demo somewhere else. You're going to save yourself some money. So he hit him with that whammy. He's like, your use case, it don't even make sense why you're in Game Pass. Microsoft is hoping there's a whole bunch of non-wise gamers like you, but it's actually the reverse. Because when you really look at it, most of the Game Pass subscribers are doing the opposite. They would normally be paying for these games, but doing this immense cost savings going into Game Pass. And the problem is with Game Pass, and we're going to get into this a little bit, they're doing a bad job, or the community altogether, Microsoft is gamers, everybody. I think everybody got some skin in this game, and I'm explaining how in a little bit. Just bear with me. Everybody's doing a bad job of convincing the gamers that are like this dude why paying the extra $20, $30 annually is worth it. They're looking at it and they're like, it's not worth it. And the same with Ubisoft Plus in my example. I'm creating a savings for myself. That's a loss for Ubisoft. What Ubisoft is hoping is that there are a lot of people that would generally only buy one Ubisoft game, but see that they only got to pay $17 a month. So therefore, they're going to do that to try all these other Ubisoft games. That the only thing between them and Ubisoft games is the price, is the cost. Ubisoft is hoping that people actually want to play their catalog, they just can't afford it. And this makes it more affordable, where it's like a layaway plan. And then they get a back catalog of games as well. So actually, gamers like me, I'm causing a loss for Ubisoft. Gamers like me and you, likely that are listening on the other end of this, you're causing a loss for Game Pass. Because if you were to buy the games that you're playing instead of waiting for them to hit Game Pass, Microsoft would earn more money. They make up the money that they lost in subscribers that are overpaying for their underutilization, meaning they would only buy 2 games a year, but they look at the value of what's in Game Pass and say, you know what? I'm coming out of my pocket more annually But because it's broken up into monthly fees, I think it's worth it for me to try these extra games. And that's Game Pass's problem. They're not getting those type of gamers. Because the whole business model was flawed. As King Thrash, and I'm using him as a basis because his conversation was so pivotal. I mean, the debate was sorry, and it wasn't King Thrash's fault. The debate was sorry, but it exposed a lot of things. It exposed that Microsoft's plan is flawed. So instead of the gamer base, these rabid zealots that are just seething to hate on PlayStation, instead of trying to inspire a better product coming out of their brand of choice, it just exposes how they've tried to double down on a flawed product, not really add anything to it as a community, and now want to cry their hearts out when Xbox realized, you know what, this ain't the ticket. This is not going to work for us. We have to abandon ship and do something else. Now, granted, my disclaimer is I always got to state, I am not, if you are new to Xbox and you don't care about exclusives, or you think it's AAA offerings are fine, and you don't really care about console war in its purest form. I don't mean console war like I'm waving my flag versus yours. I mean console war in the purest form as the way that the console execs have described it, which is just a competition between platforms, and therefore who's putting out the best content due to that competition. Console war is not a dirty word here. Fanboying is. Because at the heart of all great products and services is competition. It is that competitive urgency that, oh man, I got to outdo that. So I got to create something better. That gives us the best products and services, gives us the biggest bang for our buck. We don't get that under complacent companies that don't feel like they got to compete with anybody, that just want to play kumbaya. We don't get that. There is no example of that, especially in the technological field. The technological field is fiercely competitive. Look at events like CES. We're sitting there comparing what AMD got to say versus NVIDIA and who came out on top. That's a market war. That's a market battle. Market competitive. It's just coined as the console war. Paul G says this is Microsoft's fault for cultivating the welfare gaming mindset. Yeah, there's so many things, Paul G, that I would blame Microsoft for, because their lack of transparency, the flip-flopping, the deceit. But today I'm going to give them a pass. I'm going to give them a pass today only because a very clear and definitive message needs to be sent today. Today's message is all about the consumer, because Microsoft is doing what it's supposed to do. It may not be doing what it's supposed to do for the consumer, but here's what people got to understand, Paul G. Microsoft's job is not to put the consumer first. Hear me out. Microsoft's job is not to put the consumer first. That's not PlayStation's job. That's nobody's job to put the consumer first. Now, I know that sounds crazy. MM2K, what the hell are you talking about? You're a consumer. Why wouldn't you want them to put you first? I didn't say that. I didn't say that I don't want them to put me first. I am just cognizant of what their job is. Their job is not to put you first. Their job is to put their investors first. Thank you, Paul G. God damn it. There you go. There you go. God damn, that got me excited, baby. That's why I love doing this. That's why I don't do this for clicks. I do this to connect to smart gamers that know what the hell they're talking about. Paul G, if I could give you some type of award, God damn it, I'd do. You know what, as a matter of fact, Paul G, hit me up. I gotta make you a member somehow. You've won, you know what, Paul G? You won a year of MM2K member content for that one. I don't give a damn. We gotta bring you into the trenches, bruh. Cold Blood, you're gonna have to scoot over a little bit as far as the main attraction is concerned. Cold Blood said that, yeah, right. That's what I'm talking about. That's the smart gamer. It's not any of these companies' jobs to put you first. You see it on the screen. It's the consumer's job to make sure they put you first. You got to understand where the chips fall. You got to understand how the lanes are built. You don't know that unless you have a high or at least moderate business acumen, which 99.999% of you zealots do not have. You sound so freaking stupid out here. It's ridiculous. And when I come across a smart gamer like Paul G, it gets me excited. Hot damn. Here we go again. To quote the great MC Light. Thank you. Microsoft's job is to maximize shareholder wealth. It's just shareholders and wealth. Microsoft's number one job, because they're a publicly traded company on the stock market, is to make investors happy so investors continue to invest. Now, why would investors continue to invest? Because Microsoft or any other company has created a gimmick or a dynamic that has consumers coming and putting hand over fist to get a hold of their products. It's a gimmick. You ever watch, what's that, Shark Tank or whatever that show is on CNBC, where people bring their products in front of like Mark Cuban and all these other people, right? Mark, they're rating these products that they're bringing in front of them based upon the gimmickry nature of them. Meaning, is this enough to entice consumers to buy it and make them think this is something that they need? Not the humanitarian service that it does for the consumers. Nobody cares about that. They're not a nonprofit. Publicly traded companies, business owners, they care about the gimmick behind your product and service and how it can rope consumers in. So as long as it can do that, that sends a bat signal to investors. Whoa, this product is growing. This product has legs, because it's convinced enough people to indulge in it. There's nothing ethical about McDonald's foods. If it was all about what's best for the consumer, McDonald's wouldn't be sold anywhere. But it provides a gimmick, fast food, that services a desire in McDonald's, the way they advertise and stuff. You need to come and get this, man. Our food is nice and cheap. It's tasty. It's not about putting you first. They put the investors first. They use you as a catalyst to the investor. So it's your job to put yourself first. You have to put yourself first. That's why we always tell you, don't fall for Phil Spencer and these limbo shirts and all that other stuff. That like, oh man, I just care about the gamer and I want to reach out. He don't give a damn about you. If he gave a damn about you, really, he would not be in that position. I'm not saying that Phil doesn't have a heart or he doesn't care about gaming. He does. But his overarching drive is how can I make money for Microsoft? That has to be it. Because if that's not it, guess what? Satya Nadella wouldn't put him there. Do you think Satya Nadella really gives a damn about gaming? If Satya Nadella really gave a damn about gaming, when he took over, he would have said, look, with the 360 era, let's go back to what we were doing then, because we were kicking ass then. Let's just spend money, spend money, spend money, and spend money. And just make sure we get the best games. No. What did Satya do? He cut off the purse strings. He put Phil Spencer under Terry Myerson to ensure they cut off the purse strings. Then they started canceling project after project after project. Scalebound, Fable Legends, you name it. Then he went to him and said, look, this is Satya going to Phil. Look, we heard that the makers of Minecraft is out here. Ready to twerk their product around here. You want to grab that? Because we know that's going to make money. He went and grabbed that. He didn't grab the next AAA genre-defining game or work with the next AAA genre-defining studio. They went and spent billions on Minecraft. That was the signal then. And then they left Minecraft multi-plat. I repeat, Phil was put under Terry Myerson. This is all Satya is doing. Satya put Phil under Terry Myerson and cut off the purse strings. They canceled games, canceled studios. Scalebound, Fable, you name it. Were they looking for AAA genre-defining titles? No. But Satya comes to Phil and says, do you want to get Minecraft? Phil says, yeah, that's cool. And guess what? Minecraft remained multi-plat. If that didn't tell you what was going to happen with Xbox games, then you weren't paying attention. I knew that. I saw that. I reported on that. Matter of fact, you don't believe me? Here, let's do this. I didn't even pay the bills, but who cares? Who needs to pay the bills? Let me go to the channel. And then let me put in Satya. Here we go. God damn it. It went straight to the thing. Let me show you. Let me show you something. This is right here where I talk about the MGS strategy. Can Phil/Satya's game strategy ever work? I made this 4 years ago. I'm going to grab this link, share. I'm going to put it in this chat if you're live. Take your ass to that video later and watch it. And watch the whole series. I think it's the 3-part series. Xbox Power Panel discusses the aftermath of interviews, do's and don'ts for next gen. Here was another one. Oh, this was a great one. This was a great one. Check this one out too. I reported on this stuff 4 years ago. 4. Here's another one. That one was 6 years ago. Why gamers need to understand and relate to Microsoft's strategy. I was preaching about Microsoft's strategy 4 to 6 years ago. I was warning you about this 4 to 6 years ago. You weren't listening. When Satya took Phil Spencer, put him under Terry Myerson, cut off the purse strings, cut off studios, cut off games, bought Minecraft, left it multiplat, that told you everything that you needed to know, but you weren't listening. Go to my channel, just type it. Let me show you what I did. You want to know what I did? Just go to my channel, type Satya. That's all I did. I typed Satya in here on YouTube. It's at MM2K Gaming News. Go there, just type Satya, watch all the freaking videos. Come on. So anyway, we told you about this stuff 4 years ago, 6 years ago, that the Microsoft strategy no longer involved battling game for game versus the Sony platform like it did prior. However, Phil was put out there because it was realized, look, we can get here. But before we get here, we can get there. But before we get there, we gotta maintain here. What is here? Here is the billions of dollars that they make off of services. The tens of billions of dollars they make off of a la carte purchases, off of DLC. That is the bulk of the gaming revenue right now. So until we create a lane that is potentially and feasibly more lucrative, we got to maintain this. How do we maintain this? Well, even though we're doing this and Satya is doing this behind the scenes, Phil, you go out there and you say this. And that's why they keep flip-flopping. But this has been happening for at least 6 years. This has been happening for a while. Thank you, Paul G. Phil is the mouthpiece and Nadella is the brains. Exactly. Why do you think that Phil Spencer all of a sudden didn't like Amazon and Google getting into gaming? Why do you think that became a problem for them? They took their eyes off of PlayStation and they was focused on Amazon and Google. Why do you think that was a thing? Do you think that Phil Spencer honestly cared about Amazon and Google? No. Satya did. Why did Satya care about Amazon and Google? Because he just saw prior with the aforementioned Minecraft that they were very close to eclipsing Amazon in the cloud business in one particular year. I can't remember when it was. It was during the pandemic. But they were held back in part due to the fact that Minecraft still had a lot of activity tied to AWS. So people was looking at Satya like, you dummy. Here we're labeling you the golden child, and here your dumbass still got Minecraft on AWS. Oh man, what are you thinking? That made Satya enraged. He went on a warpath that year. I believe it was 2019. He vowed to take Minecraft off of AWS, which he did. He had Microsoft, because then he finally realized the potential of gaming with how it could impact the cloud. When he saw that, he said, oh, hell no. He became enraged. Follow the timeline here. They canceled Mixer. They had just put all this money in Mixer, had employed Ninja, all that stuff. They canceled Mixer. Phil then starts doing interviews out of nowhere talking about how he's afraid of Amazon and Google making platforms. He can't trust them. He could trust everybody else, but he can't trust them. Like I said, they purged Mixer. They removed what's it called from AWS, and guess what else they did that year? They bought Bethesda. Now, what does buying Bethesda have to do with the cloud? Well, Bethesda was a strong partner with Google Stadia. They were putting games on it. They were highly supporting the platform as much as Ubisoft was. And they had a product called Orion that was supposed to reduce latency and heavily increase frames on Stadia. And from very credible sources on the front lines of Stadia, to me, I've been informed that Orion was pivotal in the growth of Stadia. There was something that they had called Project Storm, not the homie Project Storm, but something that we kept extracting out of APKs from Stadia called, I think it was called Project Storm or something like that, that was kept being encoded in their APKs. Once Bethesda was purchased by Microsoft, that verbiage of Project Storm or whatever it was removed. And it's rumored that Project Storm was the next evolution of Stadia, Stadia 2.0. The one that we reported on so much. The one that people were like, yeah, via the Stadia technology, we've seen it run at 8K 120. This Orion project was to help stabilize that and make that a reality. Well before NVIDIA GeForce Now could do it with AI and machine learning, that Project Orion was going to help, at least with the frames were concerned and the stability of the frames. That was going to help Stadia do this early. And when Microsoft bought Bethesda, that was a blow. That was what Phil Harrison was talking about. When the SG&E people asked, why are you closing us down so soon? And he honestly answered, which I think he shouldn't have said, but it was because of Bethesda. People assumed that it meant that, Microsoft was willing to spend so much money on Bethesda. No, Bethesda was a pivotal partner in that relationship. That hurt Stadia in so many ways. And Microsoft knew that. Like I said, Satya went on a rampage in 2019 after they discovered that the gap between them and AWS was wider than what it needed to be because he refused to address gaming in the cloud as much as he wanted to. He doubled down. And it was the whole, as far as I'm concerned, because of the knowledge that I have, it was really rooted in why they went after Call of Duty. They went after Call of Duty because they want Game Pass to have that value content in there. Yes, they want the mobile. They find the mobile to be lucrative. But more importantly to Satya, Call of Duty is instrumental to boosting a cloud platform. If anybody's familiar with the cloud community, there are two games that the cloud community was begging for: Fortnite and Call of Duty. The projections of Call of Duty being on a cloud service were astronomical of how much it could boost it. Rigorous conversations all the time. Call of Duty's getting too bloated. The file size is getting too large. Can you imagine it on the cloud with no updates or waiting for no patches? Then on top of that, there was a study out of Germany that showed that because of the peer-to-peer service that Call of Duty was using via Activision, it was creating more latency for each installment after each update. Meanwhile, when you have it in the cloud, the latency that you get from having to send remote signals to the cloud is compensated by the fact that every gamer is communicating via servers. So it was estimated that pretty soon there was going to be more latency in your Call of Duty matches in native gameplay than there would be if it was installed in the cloud. So that really would give any cloud platform with Call of Duty a leg up. Satya knew this. He went on a warpath starting in 2019. Again, check the timeline. They fall short more than they should have, and how close they got to how close Azure was to AWS overall. All of a sudden, Phil starts talking about how he can't sleep at night because of Amazon and Google. They closed Mixer. They removed Minecraft from AWS entirely. And then last but not least, the final gauntlet, they bought Bethesda. That was the first blow to their competitors in the cloud. Phil is the mouthpiece. Satya is the brains here. When they brought Minecraft to Microsoft and they kept it multi-plat, that was everything that you needed to know. During that time frame, there was no AAA genre defining games, studios being built, none of that stuff. The only thing that changed Satya's mind about how aggressive he was when he realized that the cloud competitiveness was going to, and the cloud gaming competitiveness was going to hurt him in the cloud altogether if he didn't get a foot on it. And he said, what were the most critical things, the most critical items, the most critical partnerships to our competitors? Bethesda and Call of Duty. And he snatched those mofos up. That's why he's doing it. He don't give a damn about you. He don't give a damn about what you think. He don't give a damn about gaming like that. He gives a damn about the cloud. That's who's in charge. And that's why these games are going multi-plat. Why? Because they got to make that money back. Why? Because their job is not to placate to you on Twitter. Their job is to placate to the investors, or not to placate, to prove their worth to the investors. Not you. Their job for you is to rope you in with some type of gimmick to make themselves more enticing to the investors. It just so happens that PlayStation decides to do this through genre-defining games. They realize, look, if we put out these quality games, we'll get hardcore gamers. The hardcore gamers that we attract, they'll bring in casual gamers. The rest is history. Microsoft under Phil tried a different approach. And we're going to get into all that. But you got to understand how this works. You got to get your business acumen up. Phil has been spewing venom since 2013 and used the fanboys to keep Xbox afloat until they could conjure up a plan for services. Yeah, I would describe it a little bit differently. He used deceit and a lack of transparency to maintain those gamers just long enough for them to do the push that they wanted to do, which is what is being rumored right now. Let me ask you a question. If Sony or Nintendo buys Minecraft, opposite of PC, do you think they put Minecraft on any other platform? Do you think they put Minecraft on any other platform? Or do they say, our platforms outside of PC, they have such far-reaching roots, we don't need to put it anywhere else. That will force people to come to us. If you're serious about competitive, exclusive content at that extent, that's what you're doing. Maybe the iteration or two after the game is after the franchise is purchased, maybe within the first few years, it stays multi-plat. You don't want to rock the boat too soon. You want to give people an opportunity to transition. But within a couple of years, you're making the change. Like when that big update, well, I forgot what they called it. The 2019 update happened for Minecraft. Microsoft's answer was, oh, you just need a Microsoft account in order, we're not making this exclusive, but PlayStation people will have to sign up to a Microsoft account, and PlayStation said nope. And I'm not well versed in it. I don't know if to this day that's still the case. That you don't need a Microsoft account to sign in to Minecraft. I don't know. But any other platform holder would have taken Minecraft and within a few years would have made it exclusive. They would have kept it on PC, but they would have made it exclusive. That told you the mindset right there. In this content that I'm showing you, this is what I was talking to 6 years ago, and y'all thought it was a joke. So that is the purpose of today's show. It is not a I told you moment. It is I don't give a damn about you moment. I really don't care. I don't give a damn about you. I don't care about your whining. I don't care about your crying. I give two rat asses about your feelings because you were too stupid to separate the forest from the trees and see the writings on the wall. Despite all of the facts, not just me, but all of the facts that were out there from the most diehard Xbox fans. And look, being an Xbox buffoon is so lucrative now. It is. That's why you got the salt content and all this stupid stuff right now, because it's lucrative. People talking about, yeah, PlayStation 4 is the ticket. It's the best platform ever. Everything that PlayStation 5 is providing now is so much better than PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 had no launch lineup. The lineup of games right now coming from PlayStation 5 destroys what the lineup that PlayStation 4 had at the same time. PlayStation 5 actually offers you a box $100 less than the competitor, and the competitor's supposed to be more powerful, and they're splitting hairs on AAA genre-defining 9th gen games. That is a bigger value than what the PlayStation 4 offered last year. Because after they got rid of the Kinect, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 were the same. So you're getting more bang for your buck this time around than you were last gen. You got the PlayStation Remote, which is the PS Portal, which is a huge success. It's sold out. You have way more content in these first three, and then now you got PlayStation Plus, which to me is a hell of a service because of how it's set up. I got access to games like Tiny Tina's Wonderland and all the other stuff. That's to no other subscription service. That's crazy to me. So the offerings of PlayStation 5 destroy the offerings of PlayStation 4 in the same time frame. But yet, these same people that praise PlayStation 4 and said it was so great, now all of a sudden say PlayStation sucks. And they want to make Xbox content, but they're not playing the games. Does that make sense to you? They're placating to you to take your money. It's like what King Thrash said in that debate. And you're too rabid and you're seething against PlayStation therefore making you deaf, dumb, and blind to what's going on. You're now too stupid to see it. I don't feel sorry for you at all. As much as I oppose what Xbox has done as far as its transparency, it's back away from the AAA genre defining scene because we need a competitor there, and a multitude of other things. I don't cast any blame on them at all. They are a business operating like a business. All this stuff that got people crying in the street, whether the rumors become true or not, it's going to happen eventually. But whether they're happening now or later, I don't care for your feelings. Who gives a damn? We've been out here. I've been out here. Z's been out here. The vast majority of Xbox gamers, diehards, BGST, you name, whatever, broadband bullies, whatever. Well, broadband bullies is a collective. The overwhelming majority have left the platform. Not because it's more lucrative to be a PlayStation creator, it isn't. It's less lucrative now because the battle's over. But they've done it because they want to enjoy gaming again. And when they saw the direction like the rest of us, unlike you turds that just want to sit there and get all creamy knuckled and become someone's excrete rag, instead of that, they want to enjoy more gaming, better gaming, and they understood the trajectory of where Xbox was going with their gaming. Jonathan in the house. What's going on, good brother? He says, this is about the cloud and Game Pass, especially after the failures of Windows Phone, with the Nokia device purchase and a huge investment of Mixer and Bing. Yeah, Satya went on a tear. Satya went on a tear in 2019. And he didn't do this for gaming. He did this to derail. And he's like, now we got to make our money back, because now what's happened is he wanted to get ABK and eventually make that exclusive. He didn't really care about PlayStation. He just wanted to make sure Amazon and Google didn't get it. And really all these other cloud services. But primarily Amazon and Google. That's what made it so lucrative. That's what made it worth $75 billion. Was the notion of, damn, we can take this from Amazon and Google and we can be the sole subscription service that has Call of Duty. I don't think he wanted to take Call of Duty from PlayStation. He did not want to do that. He didn't take Minecraft from them. As a matter of fact, the last exclusive that they had was coming from Bethesda, and I think that was more of a Phil Spencer thing. Phil Spencer, I think, was placating to the Xbox gamer and decided at a moment and convinced Satya, let's make Starfield exclusive. That's why Tim Stewart said wow in the email, because it came out of nowhere. And the proposal failed. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing today. All right. So let's go over some critical points here why I feel this way. Number one, let's do this. Can I put this up and can I make this quick? I don't want to do this if I'm going to take forever in doing this. I think I can do this quick. So give me a second here. I believe I can do this quickly. Okay. So let's start with number one being what? Oh, come on. God damn you. Okay, I want to first start off by talking about That, and then secondly, we're going to talk about this. Cold Blood, if you're still listening, let me know, brother. If you can game at 7 p.m. your time. If not, then I'll do something else. I was doing Cyberpunk. I did a little bit yesterday. So what I'll do is I'll release those tapes. It's only about 30 minutes. And if we can't, yeah, just let me know, brother. And I got this last one. Should happen. Okay. All right, so let's get into these footnotes real quick. I spent like over an hour just talking ish. All right. So let's start with number one. The purpose of a hardcore fan base, right? What is the purpose of a hardcore fan base? In order for me to go into the purpose of a hardcore fan base and how that lays into all this, I got to first go over the purest explanation of the console war. As I explained earlier, the console war, in its purest definition, is the competitiveness between multiple console platforms and ecosystems. Well, really the consoles. How much saturation they're getting and how much software they're selling. And in order, in the numero uno way, it's been like this for decades and it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. The number one way to increase that saturation is to have games that people desire. You got to have well, I'll put it to you like this. You got the biggest and most talked about games have to include your exclusives. Let me say it in a way that's a little bit more understandable. Your exclusives got to be on the list of the biggest, most talked about, desired games of each year that they release. They have to be. They have to be part of that discussion. If they are part of that discussion, that makes your platform, your console, more desirable. And thus, it has a trickle-down effect. The first part of that trickle-down effect is they anchor in the hardcore. What do I mean by that? Cold Blood, Paul G, myself, people that game all the time on AAA genre defining games. These are the games that we seek after the most. We may play indies, like I'll play like some double A indies, like a Van Helsing, that like a top-down dungeon crawler or something. I enjoy stuff like that. You know what I mean? I may get a kick out of games or side scrollers like Grime, games like that, but the games that I'm really looking for are the AAA genre defining games. That's usually the hardcore games. That's our MO. Those games hunker us in. Now, the fact of the matter is the hardcore only represent a small portion of the gaming community. We only represent like 5 to 10% of the gaming community, right? But what happens is when you anchor us in, it has a cascading effect in two ways. Number one, we represent the cool kids in gaming. So when you see us playing God of War and getting all excited or whatever, oh man, that just speaks to that. That's like if the cool kid comes to your school wearing some type of jacket and everybody's like flocking on that jacket, you want to get that jacket too. So the same thing with the console. It's like, oh man. I mean, the game that I'm a casual gamer, and the game that I really play is such and such, which is available everywhere. But where would I play it at? You're going to want to play it in the most critically acclaimed places, right? It's like when you go buy a TV. You may look at two TVs that look the same. You're like, oh, but then you go get help. Come on, which one is better? Which one is the better brand? Well, this one has a time flex defibrillator that does this, and they're explaining stuff to you, stuff that you'll never use. But the fact that you know that it's available in that unit and it isn't in the other one tells you the quality of that unit. It speaks to the quality of that unit. So psychologically, you say to yourself, I want that one. And then you go home and you take home that one. Watch the same, you know that, hey, look, the thing that you're watching can be seen on the other TV too. With the same clarity. But because you were sold all this additional stuff that you may not even use, to you that speaks to the quality of the TV overall, so you grab that TV. The same with the console. You may never play God of War. That's why God of War, out of 100 some odd million consoles, might only sell 18 million. And I mean, and I'm being facetious when I say only. Spider-Man may only sell 20 million. But see, that 20 million and the excitement that is brewed by that 20 million, especially now in the advent of social media, when they're going online and showing you clips. Like, I would go and put clips of God of War out there, right? And that was my most successful content ever. Shorts of God of War. Easily 1,000 views, easily. When I done the same with Starfield, nobody cared. I was lucky to get 100 views. Why? Because there's a difference between how the hardcore is servicing each platform. We'll get into that in a little bit. So now that I'm showing these games, or other people are showing these games, and we're of this 20 million that are broadcasting, playing these games with other people, that is now growing the excitement with the casuals. Look, this is what the cool kids are playing on. This is what my favorite streamer is playing on. I'm going to pick that up. And that's why the PlayStation, that's part of the reason why the PlayStation is so sought after. I would say the main reason. This is what the cool kids are getting. Why are the cool kids getting it? Because the cool kids see those AAA genre defining games and they're like, that's the box I want. Secondly, when it comes to games like Fortnite, or maybe not Fortnite, like Call of Duty and Apex and those games with clans and stuff like that, excuse me, how these clans are usually devised is that there's more casual gamers playing Call of Duty than hardcore gamers. So in every clan, there's probably like 1 or 2 hardcore gamers. But guess what? Those 1 or 2 hardcore gamers are the anchors of that clan. Let me give you a prime example. My brother Cold Blood Sensei. How I met Cold Blood Sensei is while the Broadband Bullies were doing the game tournaments a few years ago, and they was kicking everybody's ass in Call of Duty, Cold Blood Sensei, and I forget the other dude, Vermeil or something like that, they were the anchors of the platform. They were the best gamers on the platform. I mean, they were the best gamers in the clan. They were the anchors. They also It's not by coincidence that they played the most games, had the most gamer score, the highest gamer score, had the highest trophies. They were the most hardcore gamers out of the crew. Hence why they were the best. So if you play with those gamers and they're only getting one console, which most gamers do, even the hardcore, guess what? Because even if you're a hardcore gamer, doesn't mean that you have an infinite amount of money that all of you do. Most gamers just buckle down to one platform. So if that person is in your clan, wherever they go, you're going. So if they're going to PlayStation, guess where you're going? You're going to PlayStation. You're going to follow your clan. So that's why hardcore AAA genre defining games, especially in this era, is so critical. It anchors in the hardcore gamer who acts as the cool kid to the casuals. And then for the other casuals that only play so-and-so game, because that's the platform that they're going to, I got to go with them. That's my teammate. That's the guy that gets the most, that got the best kill death ratio in the clan. All right. So hopefully y'all understand that and why AAA genre defining games, even though people say, well, most casual gamers don't care about that. It doesn't matter. It has an anchoring effect that even trickles down to them. Now that we got that, made that abundantly clear, let's talk about how this dynamic is negatively impacting Xbox because of the disingenuous Xbox and gamer relationship. Now, like how I just described how the hardcore gamers anchored in, that's an example of how PlayStation talks to gamers. That's how PlayStation talks to gamers. They use their AAA genre defining games as their anchor to even get the casual gamer, right? Xbox operates a little bit different. Now, my previous example, remember, I spoke to how I would take my God of War clips and put shorts of them out there. And when I did the same thing with Starfield, I was getting nowhere near more success. Starfield was just as talked about, if not more than God of War. So why would me putting Starfield clips out there, wouldn't I get the same reception? Because instead of providing you quality product that then prompts your user base to showcase said product to everybody, the Xbox relationship is based off of social media interaction. I have this debate with a lot of Xbox fans. They say, well, even you can say what you want about the quality of the games. Xbox is the most talked about. Yes, they stay in the discussion, but they don't leave the discussion. They're just talked about. Is that helpful to a sense? Yeah, I mean, you would rather be talked about than not talked about at all. But I think if you could choose a preference, they would rather be consumed more than talked about. PlayStation has a balance. They're talked about and consumed. Microsoft or Xbox is primarily talked about. Nobody cares about Starfield gameplay. They care about seeing God of War gameplay because it's tantalizing to the eye. It looks exciting. It looks cool. Starfield does it, and the people that are playing Starfield, they don't operate to do so. They don't try to jimmy it up or do anything that's going to relate to sales on the end of Xbox, Because being an Xbox gamer to this Xbox zealotry, either you are or you aren't. I should have to convince you. It just is. And if you don't praise Xbox, I'm going to shoot you down. That's the problem with the Xbox zealotry world. They are not enticed. They're not enticing and welcoming you to the platform. They act as a hammer to beat you down when you don't praise it. Where the PlayStation zealotry, yeah, they'll sit there and criticize Xbox gamers, but they're like, look at our games. They're so great. Here, let me show you. When you're when you're seeing the Xbox community versus the PlayStation community, you see one side playing games way more than the other. The most heavily respected podcasts or content on one side are totally different on the other side. The most respected Xbox content is based upon SALT content. How can I crap on PlayStation gamers? Pony. These people are not playing games with you. Now, some of the PC gamers that are trying to get on this SALT content may play games with you, but they're not playing Xbox games. They're playing PC games. Games that may not even necessarily be in Game Pass. They don't have to. They got an excuse. Why aren't you playing the Xbox? I'm a PC gamer. I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I don't have to play those games. Right? That's their excuse. But the pure Xbox console gamer, the most respected content, I'm not saying there's no content creators out there, but the most respected content creators, there's no game streams. They're not playing games with anybody. And if there are game streams, they're not promoting them. They're just doing it for the sake of, and there might be some back channel that exists, but they're not promoting them. What they're promoting is their seething anti-PlayStation rhetoric. But when you look at the PlayStation podcasts, oh yeah, some of the zealots over there, they're hating on Xbox. They're talking about their games suck. But just as predominant as that speech, they're saying, look, come play games with me. Look at my games that I'm playing. Look how I'm kicking ass. What's your gamer score? That's why PlayStation gamers are asking, what's your gamer score? Are you playing these games? Because we play games over here. Prime example, What's Up PlayStation podcast, hosted by Jay Barry and Persona. Shout out to those brothers. They are the most respected PlayStation content over there, and they focus purely on PlayStation, and those brothers are always playing games. I don't know much about Persona, but I know Jay Barry from me doing Broadband Bullies content 6 years ago. And Jay Barry's been hosting gaming tournaments and content and stuff like that up in New York. And he's been doing this for years, bruh. They are about showing games and showing you why. I ain't got to convince you. You ain't got to believe me. Here's the proof. Showing you why PlayStation games are the best. You don't have the equivalent over on the Xbox side. They're not playing these games and showing you on equal level with their rhetoric why you need to come to Xbox. All they're doing is trying to convince you on why you should wag your finger at PlayStation. That's not an effective strategy. simply put, you're not inspiring enough purchase, of Game Pass, but the biggest and staunchest defenders of Game Pass, when we go to the PlayStation litmus, which is, you got to play these games in order for us to take you seriously. When we ask when they ask the Xbox people, what's your gamer score? Why does that matter, right, Paul G? They sound like a Dodge Omni that stalled. They sound like a 94 Dodge Omni that stalled, ran, motors blown, whatever. Hold on 1 second. All these PlayStation gamers or creators, yes, there are some that go overboard on their Xbox hate. I'm not denying that. But they're showcasing and they're playing games. The overwhelming majority of Xbox content creators, Xbox influencers on Twitter and so forth, I can't find any game footage. Even myself, who find it difficult to do a game stream, I play a lot of games, or I got a lot of hours in games, but 70% of my content doesn't make it to YouTube. Now, I don't have the hours like a cold blood. I can do like 2 or 3 hours a day, and a lot of like, for instance, I did a 2-hour stream of Cyberpunk, and for some reason, thank God, OBS has that remux function, but for some reason it only recorded the first 30 minutes and the rest of it was invalid. So I split the 30 minutes from the other hour and a half. So that's why I said I got a 30-minute upload for you guys today that I'm going to play. But a lot of my content doesn't make it for whatever reason. But at least I'm trying to play games with you guys. We're trying to stream games, or I'm trying to show you game footage. We got Patreon content based off of 4K game footage. These guys don't play any games, hence why they don't want to show you their gamer score. You have Xbox guys that are capping for Xbox games that don't play. That you got Xbox gamers that are capping for Xbox that have lower gamer scores on Xbox than PlayStation gamers. That is not helping Xbox. That is keeping them in the conversation so they don't totally go by the wayside, but it's not giving Xbox the push that they need. So you're not doing the job for Xbox that PlayStation creators are doing for PlayStation. So you're not helping Game Pass. And Game Pass was supposed to be their flagship product. But you're out there just talking PlayStation's dying, you're not doing anything. At least when they're talking about the demise of Xbox or how Xbox is trash, they're showing you why, in theory, in their minds, why Xbox is trash. Because their games are not as good as this. Watch me play them. That's what's missing from your content. But the reason why it's missing from their content is because most of these Xbox content creators these days don't believe Xbox games are any good themselves. They don't even want to play them. They only use Game Pass as a catalyst to boot up something to show you a gamer score, because what Game Pass does is allows them to ping a game, accumulate hours whether they're playing the game or not, so they can pretend to be a gamer, which gives them relevancy in these conversations. Most of these Xbox content creators, they don't really care for Xbox and just try to placate to you to take your money, or B, they don't like Xbox, but they just hate PlayStation. And the reason why they hate PlayStation so much is because it's not that they think Xbox is so great, the games are so great, they're not playing them. That's why they won't give you their gamer score. They're not playing them. It's not that they think these Xbox games are so great. It's that they think that the PlayStation games are oversold. They think the PlayStation games are overrated. And they're like, yeah, our stuff might be mediocre, but their stuff is mediocre too. Like the best content is the multi-plat content. This is how they think. I know because I thought like them. The best content is the multi-plat content. So why do they keep winning awards when Spider-Man is buggy and it's only got 10 hours of content, right? These are the comments that I get all the time. They truly believe this stupid stuff because they're listening to other content creators, or they decided to get an Xbox and Xbox isn't inspiring them anymore, but they still want to stay in the debate because they chose Xbox. They take it personally. I don't take this stuff personally. I've been gaming for 35 plus years. I'm a true gamer. I've seen my favorite consoles stay. I've seen my favorite consoles go. That's why when people were like, oh, Stadia died, I said, okay. And Dreamcast died. Dreamcast died. A lot of you are converts over from Dreamcast because you hated PlayStation so much, and the remnants of Dreamcast became Xbox. I'm a gamer. I mean, I had issues with the PlayStation ideology when it came to gaming, but they've improved on that. So I go where the games are at. So when Stadia died, oh man, that sucked. Hell yeah, they had a lot of potential and they were doing a lot of things that even some of these cloud services aren't even doing today. But I didn't skip a beat going to GeForce Now because GeForce Now is doing something granular that Stadia wasn't doing as far as its performance. It's really taking cloud gaming to the next level as far as its performance, and it's getting the games that I want to play. Even though it's not entirely seeing the Stadia dream, it's doing a lot of things, some of which even Stadia wasn't doing because the aforementioned purchase of Bethesda and so forth. But regardless of why they wasn't doing it, they weren't doing it. So it was like a give and take. It's always like that. It's a give and take. I've seen platforms go and die. It ain't no big thing to me. I go where the games are at, and I show my support where the games are at. I don't take this personally. When Stadia died, I wasn't on the board. I didn't make that decision. I couldn't do nothing about that. When Dreamcast died, I couldn't do nothing about that. When GameCube died, I couldn't do nothing about that. When Genesis was kicking ass and survived, that wasn't because of me. I didn't make those decisions. When the regular Nintendo dominated, that wasn't because of me. PlayStation 5 dominating right now, that's not because of me. GeForce Now owning the cloud, that's not because of me. None of this is personal. I just follow the games. Paul G, you're right. There's not many pure Xbox gamers out there. Not in the content creation world. Again, you're not inspiring enough purchase of Game Pass because you're not playing the games and showcasing them. Game Pass was supposed to be the flagship product. And day and date was done at an incredible financial a la carte loss, but that should have given you more reason to showcase Xbox. Not only did they create a value system for gamers, but that made it easier for you to showcase Xbox. And we're still seeing situations where 50% of the gamers on Hi-Fi Rush have not beat the first boss. So many of you in Starfield haven't even gotten to level 10. This stuff is in Game Pass day and date. How is this possible? And they're doing this at such a huge financial loss. All they need you to do is be out there on the front lines, not just on Twitter, but play the damn games and show them. They made it so easy for you. They're giving out codes. You can get the games on Pop-Tarts. They're making it so easy and you're not playing the games. Look, let me tell you something. I ain't never said a kind thing about Phil Spencer in my entire time on YouTube. I gotten Phil Spencer's attention more than I've gotten anybody's from PlayStation. But yet I'm still showing off PlayStation games more than I'm showing off theirs. That's a problem. As a matter of fact, by my usage of PC Game Pass, I show off more Xbox games than your average Xbox content creator. I repeat, as much as I despise the Xbox ecosystem, I show off more Xbox content than your average Xbox creator. That's criminal. So you're not showing, you're not inspiring Game Pass, the flagship product, to be sold. Then you're not even buying games. Why? Because you're waiting for them to be on Game Pass for you not to show them. You're not inspiring. PlayStation 5 or PlayStation consoles are outselling Xbox 70-30, 60-40. I bet. No. 80-20 sometimes. When a multi-plat comes out, the ratio is normally 70-30. That's absurd because y'all are only engaging with games that are on Game Pass, and you're only engaging with them. You're not fully playing them. And when you do engage with them or play, you're not putting the footage up. You're not showing that the games are cool to engage with. That is necessary if you want to be in this console battle. You don't want to call it the console war, fine, but it's a battle. So you're not even inspiring the purchase of third-party games. Meanwhile, the console business model lucrativeness that is there from Xbox is running out. Why? Because more and more developers have to say, well, look, if I'm not putting my game in Game Pass, which would cannibalize my sales, and I don't think that the money that Microsoft is willing to give me is worth it. But if I'm not going to put my games on Game Pass, why even bother? Why bother? And then that makes it easier for PlayStation to negotiate with developers and just make second party and third party exclusives. Your lack of involvement where it's needed, not on just this die pony. You got to show why what PlayStation offers isn't as good as what's over here. You can't just talk about it. You got to show it. Because you're not showing it, you're creating a lot of conversation, a lot of hits and a lot of this, but it's not resulting in purchases. It's not resulting in subscriptions. Because y'all ain't gamers. Y'all are just haters of PlayStation. So that's why this is called the disingenuous Xbox/gamer relationship. It's disingenuous. It's not rooted in gaming. It's rooted in hate. So therefore, because it's becoming less and less lucrative for the developers, you're not helping inspire Game Pass sales, and you're not even buying the third-party games outside of Game Pass Microsoft is sitting there looking like, well, why are we doing this? Like our hardcore game community is not doing the job for us. We've invested so much in them because we're looking across the street and we're seeing what the hardcore community is doing over there. But where is our WUPS creators? Where is our creators that, okay, they want to talk about the console war and stuff like that and the competitive stuff about, but what about focusing on Xbox, and what about playing these games and highlighting the Xbox games as much as they're talking? Where is our WUPS podcasts at? They're not there, and they're hurting us because of it. So now that you have that, and because you have that, you've had to continue with skirting. This is why, here, let me put that back up here before we get to this next part. This is why Xbox continuously changes its tune. This is why Xbox is always flip-flopping, because they're trying to placate to you because they want to have a strong following, but you're not doing what they need you to do. So that's why they keep flirting with, well, damn, us competing with PlayStation ain't working. Because at the very least, I mean, yeah, okay, we ain't got the quality games, but at the very least, our strategy could be more successful if you guys would just do this. We made everything easy for you. You're not doing it. And here is the straw that broke the camel's back on why I think that Xbox just said F it. The straw that broke the camel's back is the outcome of the Bethesda deal. So let's talk about that. The Bethesda deal was originally planned to be for the games to be multi-plat. Pete Hines, Todd Howard, everybody believed that was going to be the case. Remember the infamous court documents that were released where Pete Hines was upset and was talking to people within Xbox about why they weren't informed about the exclusivity of their games all of a sudden, while Activision Blizzard was going to be multi-plat, and why and how that was going to derail and make life more difficult for them, and particularly Todd Howard, who at the time was out traveling on business. I feel like Pete Hines felt like, you know what, there are too many hands, there's too many things happening that just are not aligned properly. And this company is a mess. I think he saw firsthand how much of a mess Xbox's messaging was, and he said, "I want no parts of this. These guys are in experiment mode. They're experiment. They don't know what the hell they want to do. They don't understand how messaging aligns based upon decisions. They're everywhere. I'm out." Their Bethesda deal, at least in the initial years, was supposed to be, as it was being advertised by Tim Stewart and others. Even I think Todd Howard had came out and said something about how it wasn't about taking games from PlayStation gamers, that, you know what I mean, like they would still be there. And Tim Stewart said it was about better, best, or first, better, or best, right? Then Phil Spencer came and did the roundtable and said how it's about that it was about exclusive content. The deal was about exclusive content for Game Pass. I think that was the last hoorah to placate to the fan base. That was the last hoorah. But had they not done that, because they placated to that fan base more than they wanted to. Xbox's original plan was, look, we may look at full platform exclusivity down the road, but here's the big kicker for y'all. The benefit for y'all is y'all are getting these games day and date in Game Pass. There is no other subscription service, and we're saving you a lot of money. There is no other subscription service that is going to provide that for you. So let us make our money back from this deal by keeping them multi-plat, but let the value incentive being this is coming to Game Pass day and date. That's our value incentive, because we don't have the means to have the value incentive of, oh, our games are going to draw you to our platform only. Let's make it to where we're lucrative, or our games are so great that you're willing to buy them on our platform. No, our incentive is, look at our subscription service. Our subscription service is so hefty and we got so many games that you want. That's what's going to draw you to our platform. Yeah, the games may be available elsewhere, but they're exclusive to our subscription service. That was supposed to be the pull to the Xbox. They were creating a new dynamic, and it kind of makes sense if it would have been successful, but it's only successful if they can still make up the gap in potential losses by selling it elsewhere. Because it's, again, I go back to that King Thrash debate. If I am a hardcore gamer, let's just say Bethesda drops 4 AAA games in a year. Let's do the math real quick. Let me see here. We are still 5. Join the discussion. Join the discussion. Give me a second, I'm sorry. All right. Let me do a couple of things here. Give me a second, y'all. Post this out here. And then lastly, we got a Hard Knock Digital Culture. Here we go. All right. Okay. So that was my, instead of Microsoft realized that they could not compete with PlayStation in having 1v1 quality games, the most critically acclaimed games with the highest Metacritic or whatever. They don't feel like that's the best use of their resources. They feel like what's best is creating a quantity narrative where you get a bunch of pretty good, very good games. Maybe they don't win awards or whatever, but it's the collective of all those games in one subscription service that we market to you. So even though Bethesda games are still going to be in other places, here's what you're getting. Game Pass is nowhere else. Oh, hold on one second. Hello. That was my friend playing this joke on me. Because his damn Michigan State Wolverines, those cheating ass Wolverines, won last night. I can't stand. Oh. Hold on. Let me tell him. I'm gonna tell him I'm live. Hold on. Oh shoot. Hold on. I'm live and I'm calling out yo cheating ass Wolverines on the air. Oh man. Anyway, so yeah, that was the narrative from Xbox. What's exclusive is we have this exclusive subscription service that gives you these games, even though they're elsewhere. You ain't got to pay all that money up front for these games, baby. And we got 26 studios or whatever. We're going to be cranking out games. So instead of you having to pay for all these games individually for a small nominal fee, you can come and play all these games via the Xbox ecosystem. That was their way of reaching out to the gaming community. Yes, they may be everywhere, but we're trying to save gamers money. And I mean, on the surface, it makes sense to a degree. There's some flaws with it. We're gonna get to the flaws in the closing section, but it makes sense. And I think it's workable. Hold on, here you go again. Hello, sir. Who is this again?
Earl Pitts, Detroit Times.
Earl Pitts, Detroit Times. Oh, okay.
Yes. How are you? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Is this a report that you're putting out slander against the Michigan Wolverines?
Yeah, I'm not putting no, sir. Look, the FBI. I got news. Colonel Johnny Bishop of the FBI called me and said that he's on his way to take that trophy. He's gonna jump through your sunroof like Commando, and he's gonna take your trophy. It's an FBI mission. I can't tell you what's going on. He's sworn to secrecy. Yeah, it's MM2K that's live. What do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. Okay. You might have some reporters on your porch later today.
I'm having some report. Yeah, I'm gonna let them know when the FBI grabs you and busts the trophy across your mouth, across your teeth. Goodbye, mother. All right. Anyway. So I can't stand that man. I can't him and his cheating ass Wolverines and his Jim Harbaugh. I can't stand it. Anyway, yeah, but that was Xbox's business model, and it could have worked. And that's why I think Xbox was putting so much in the creators, because they're like, look, guys, not only are we creating a value narrative for consumers, but we're making it easier for you to go out there and talk your stuff on the ponies, but showcase the platform, showcase the games. And all we got is this anti-PlayStation rhetoric with no showcasing of games. And so now they're like, okay, we bought Bethesda at the time, which is the hugest deal in forever in gaming. They got to get that money back. They're they're not getting it back off of Game Pass subscriptions alone. It's not happening. They still haven't built up the accumulation of lucrativeness to the service for the average gamer. So you can talk about PlayStation this and PlayStation that all you want, but this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So let us build up to this moment to where, yeah, we can say what we have in totality in Game Pass is valuable enough. You know what I'm saying? To where we don't have to be third party or multi-plat elsewhere. But we're not at that point yet. But we're offering you enough content creator to where you can argue for that talking point that is coming to Game Pass first. And there is no other service with the value of Game Pass. Let us get our chips back first. Let us get our money back first. And let's build up to that moment. Because right now we're still in a weird spot to where only quality AAA genre defining games are going to win the day. And we don't have that yet. Or we don't have that at all. We're working for a extremely valuable gaming service that is lucrative to all. We're getting closer. We're not there yet. So while we're making these huge acquisitions, you got to understand that these games may still show up elsewhere. But at least let us get our money back. And then, if you guys are doing your job and helping to promote the service, then we can say, okay, we don't need to put these games elsewhere. But until we get to that point, let the value narrative be the exclusive talk here. Because right now, we don't have what it takes to compete against PlayStation games. And I'm sorry, it's not just a farce that people want PlayStation games. They truly want them. And they truly want the console because of those games. Whether they're interacting with those games day and date or later or not at all. It has a trickle-down effect. But because you guys were whining so much about the Bethesda deal, Phil thought that he had to placate to you guys. And I bet you nobody else was with him. But he was entrusted with that decision. He made that decision, and that decision backfired on him in so many ways. Not only is it causing, it's not helping the growth of the platform, but it also come back to bite them in their acquisition of ABK, because it was routinely referenced and why Microsoft can't be trusted. And it was a staunch talking point in why all of the three major regulators decided to really try to pump the brakes on the deal at the very least over cloud gaming concerns. That Bethesda acquisition and how it affected Google. Why do you think that there was talk about Linux-based applications? That's Google. Google convinced the regulators it was a problem that needed to be addressed. Now, EU was the least concerned after Microsoft worked with them hand in hand to make concessions. It's just that Microsoft falsely thought that, oh, if we work with the EU, it'll just trickle down to everybody else, and that wasn't the case. But it was that Bethesda deal, and them making that stuff exclusive so early. That was a huge catalyst and causing the cloud concerns. I talked to people close to Stadia, close to Google to this day. And the common theme in our conversation when we talk about what happened with Stadia, it was that Bethesda deal. That Bethesda deal hurt Stadia in more ways than one. That came back to bite Microsoft with AVK. Because they wanted so much more out of that deal as far as exclusivity. And now they can't get it for 10 years. So because they placated to the rabid fan base one more time, even though you guys are not doing your job, they just said, F it, we're done. These games are going on other platforms. If the rumors are true, these games are going on other platforms. They're going on other platforms now. We're not going to put them all there today, but we're going to start slowly but surely. This is happening. This is why you had Tim Stewart say what he say. Even Phil, when he was in Japan, say we got to look at the Xbox and the Nintendo game. I mean, the PlayStation and the Nintendo gamers as part of the Xbox family. This is why they're saying this stuff now. And all you gamers that are out there talking about this was our generation and Xbox keep doing this and doing that, they did everything they could to placate to you. As far as placating to you in your Twitter war game, because you're not gamers. And they know you're not gamers. So it was never about quality games. You just wanted to be a foil to PlayStation. So they placated to you. And you did nothing for them and their long-term success. They are a business. So because they are a business, and you couldn't hold up to your end of the bargain, the PlayStation gamers, they are doing what they need to do, or the PlayStation community are doing what they need to do to boost up the platform. Y'all are not doing enough. All you're doing is trying to drag down PlayStation. You're talking, yeah, these are quality Xbox games. Where they at? Where's the game footage? It's a damn shame that you can't show your gamer score. That's embarrassing. They put the games in a $9.99 subscription service. You still can't show your gamer score? You're still not playing the games? I don't blame Microsoft. So they're going to do this transition slowly but surely, until they figure you're not needed anymore. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going anywhere. You don't play any games. That's why you saw content creators say, if Xbox isn't going to compete with PlayStation, then I'm going to quit gaming. They don't care, because they finally realized that trying to placate to you, the smallest portion of their player base, because their player base is growing where it's growing based off of people that play games that don't care where their games is at. They just like the quality narrative of Game Pass. They like that they're using Game Pass to bring other games to other platforms, like myself. The new Xbox gamer don't care about what what you care about. So trying to maintain you is no longer lucrative anymore. They're done with it, and they got $82 billion or $83 billion to make back between Bethesda and Call of Duty. I mean, Bethesda and Activision. They got $83 billion in the hole because of those acquisitions. They are loss leading by putting their games day and date in Game Pass with Bethesda. They are loss leading. They're losing money because of that. Starfield sold one good month, then it plummeted off the chart. It started to plummet off the charts in Game Pass activity. They're done playing with y'all. And for the business sense of it, I don't blame them. But here's what should have happened all along. Y'all should have listened to when we were telling you, particularly those that were I was a diehard Xbox enthusiast. I battled the biggest and brightest on the PlayStation field. I was diehard for Xbox. Even I recognized the problem with this new strategy and was trying to send out the warning signals for it, and y'all just ignored it. Y'all said, get out of the community. Because we hate PlayStation that much. Get out of the community. Number one, y'all gotta stop getting caught up in this 1 billion quarter total for Game Pass. Game Pass makes $1 billion a quarter. That is true. But in going day and date, particularly with Xbox games, they lose so much money. What am I talking about? Again, I'm going to reference back to the King Thrash video where King Thrash was trying to explain this to this dude, this noob. Let's talk about Horizon Forbidden West to best illustrate this. When Horizon Forbidden West was put in PlayStation Plus, it helped grow the subscription service to the 14, 15 million that it was at the time it was reported. But because they lost out on the a la carte purchases, even a year after the fact, it is reported, or PlayStation says themselves, that they lost $85 million in that. And that wasn't even a day and day drop in the Game Pass. That was after the fact. A year after the fact. So imagine how much, and what they did is they looked at the potential revenue that they would have gotten had Horizon Forbidden West was straight a la carte purchase. They look at how much Horizon Forbidden West influenced the growth in PlayStation Plus, and they subtracted that growth in PlayStation Plus versus the a la carte purchases, and they still lost 85 million. So if they lost 85 million after putting a highly sought after game in a subscription service, not even day and date a year after, how much do you think that Xbox is losing by doing the same thing, and they're doing it day one? The growth in Game Pass doesn't make up for the losses in the a la carte purchases. That should be a given. That should be a given. Because if you look at the potentiality of what the sales would be, let me give you a prime example. Let's say if Starfield being available for sale, let's say if you crunch the numbers and you say, oh, this game has the potential to sell 19, 20 million. If we leave it multi-plat and we don't put it in a subscription service day one, this game could sell 20 million. That's 20. Let's do the math. That's 20 million. And I truly believe that across PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, the fervor behind Starfield was so huge that I think that they could have got 20 million in sales between those three platforms. So let's do the math. Let's do 20 million times 70. Well, no. Let's do. We got to do it like this. Let me clear that out. Let's use. I'll say 55, because we got to factor in that a lot of those purchases would be made on platforms where there would be a 30% service fee. So I'm going to say 55. Let's do 20 million times 55. That equals $1.1 billion, right? $1.1 billion. Let's say that, okay, so that's $1.1 billion that Starfield would have made with 20 million in sales, which I think it could have very, very easily done by the end of 2023. Let's look at now what they likely made. There were 13 million players altogether. I'm going to say out of that 13 million, cool. And how many sales were sustained? Let's say, I'm gonna say 5 million. 5 million times 55 is 275 million. So let me mark that down. 275 million. Let me mark that down somewhere. 275 million. And then that's the sales. And then let's say there were what? I'm going to say that it probably caused another 2.5 million in Game Pass subscriptions. And I'll use a medium of $13. That's 32 million. Because I feel like that the majority of the people that are playing what's it called on Game Pass already had it out of the 25 million that they already had, right? It probably netted them another 2.5 million Game Pass subscribers for that month, right? So if you look at that, that's $302 million. Hold on, let's do the accurate math. Plus 275 million. So that's 307,500,000. That's 307,500,000. Where if you do the estimation of rough sales alone, they would have made 1.1 billion based off of our estimations. Do you see why a la carte sales are way more lucrative 1v1 versus subscriptions? In order for subscriptions to be more lucrative than a la carte sales, you got to have quadruple the subscriptions than potential sales. So if Starfield easily has the potential to hit 20 million if it's left multi-plat and it's a la carte only, and we're talking about at least 1.1 billion, you are losing money unless you have 4 times as much subscribers than potential sales. And you don't. It topped the sales chart 1 month. But when you look at the Game Pass subscriptions, there's only 25 million people there. But only a total of 13 million people played the game. So we know that the sales weren't astronomical because only 13 million people played it. So that's where I'm coming off with the estimates of maybe 2.5 million in sales, yada, 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 right? When you look at the fathomable math, they are short. They are short around $800 million. That's why you see them out there on Steam talking about, hey, you're just playing the game wrong. So Xbox Zealot, do yourself a favor. Stop looking at, oh, they're making $1 billion a quarter. That's a big number to you because you're not a multi-trillion-dollar gaming business. But $1 billion in a quarter isn't that much compared to what you could be making in sales. If you do the math, Xbox needs anywhere between 3 to 4 times more subscribers than what it has now. I'll even shortchange it. They need at least 60 million. That's less. They need at least, so that's only 2 to 4 times more subscribers that are engaging in these. No, they don't got to engage, but 2 to 4 times more. They need at least 60 million for this all to make sense, for this to be on a green or a black, for this to be in the black opposed to being the red. Otherwise, they're losing money. Just like how PlayStation lost money with Horizon Forbidden West. And they're only 10 million away from Game Pass. They didn't put the game in day and date. It's a year later, and they still lost 85 million. What do you think Microsoft is losing? Only 10 million higher than PlayStation Plus, and they're putting their games in day and date. Come on. So when you do the math, if Xbox games were not in Game Pass, to reach $1 billion in sales off of Xbox games alone, they would just have to sell a measly 15 million games a quarter. That's it. So you're telling me, looking at the entire Xbox catalog, which includes Minecraft, which includes Halo, all the Halo games, all the stuff that's in Game Pass today, you're trying to tell me that Xbox can't sell 15 million of them a quarter? Now, I'm just using Xbox games alone to show you that in the gaming world, how measly $1 billion in sales are. Y'all getting all creamy knuckle. Well, Xbox is making $1 billion off of Game Pass. They got 400 games in there. If just the Xbox games that are in there were available only a la carte, to reach $1 billion, they would only have to sell 15 million games a quarter. You're telling me with all of its, with Forza, with them dropping a game every quarter, you're telling me that they couldn't get 15 million in sales from a new release? And all the other games they got out there, Halo, Infinite, all the others, that they couldn't get 15 million in sales a quarter? Let's do the math. you're telling me that Xbox can't sell 5 million units a month of its own games worldwide? I'm talking about this entire catalog. Are you telling me that the Xbox catalog that they have in Game Pass can't sell more than 5 million units a month? Entire catalog, current backlog. You're telling me that their games are that pathetic they can't sell a total of 5 million a month? They're dropping a new game every quarter, right? Is that what you're telling me? That's all 1 billion is. 1 billion is 5 million first party games sold a month. They can't do that. Their entire catalog, they can't do that. They can't do that. Maybe more like 6 million if you include the back catalog being $60. They can't do that. If they can't do that, then that tells you that quality isn't the narrative. It's about volume. So when y'all say, oh, Game Pass is making it, there is 400 freaking games in Game Pass on any given month. You're trying to tell me that if you just extrapolate or you just yank out the Xbox games, the entire Xbox catalog, you're trying to tell me with all the Bethesda games, all the stuff that is, are you trying to tell me with the whole APK catalog that they're about to get, you are trying to tell me that Xbox can't sell 6 million games worldwide a month? Is that what you're trying to tell me? That's bullpucky. They can do it with the lineup that they got now, as trash as it is. Stop it. They can sell 6 million games a month with the catalog they have now. They can sell more than that. So of course they're losing money. Why are they definitively losing money with Game Pass? Because that's just their games. Look at how much money they're losing on the games that they're not getting royalties on because of Game Pass. When they get MLB The Show, when they get Lies of P and all that stuff they make available on Game Pass, that 30% is now gone because people are indulging in Game Pass. And on top of that, not only are they losing that 30% because people rather indulge it in Game Pass, they are actually paying the developers to put it in Game Pass. It's a double whammy. What do you mean they're not losing money? Just because there's revenue gained, you got to look at the loss of the potential sale that is not gained versus the activity in the subscription service, like how PlayStation did. They lost a potential 85 million. That's still a loss. That's how business works, you dumbasses. It's still a loss. So all those people that finessed Starfield, that played it for $15, don't like it, went about their business, instead of committing to it for $70, that's a loss. That's how it works in business. Sony projected it right. By us putting Horizon Forbidden West in the subscription service, instead of leaving it a la carte, we lost 85 million in potential revenue. It's a loss. Why? Because they're not earning more money than they would have had they left it a la carte. Starfield, as mediocre as it is, on launch, or I would say for the entirety of 2023, had the potential to sell 20 million worldwide if it was on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. It just does. And Paul G calls it out right. Bots say, or zealots say, revenue is everything. Nobody's losing more money than Xbox here. Don't give me this crap about place is not sustainable. Yeah, AAA games are getting more expensive to make, but there is nobody losing more money on their approach to gaming than Microsoft. Y'all don't understand how business works. You're looking at a loss as in money that is a non-purchase. No, a loss is simply the potentiality of revenue made versus the actual revenue that's made. That's still a loss. If we would have left it like this, we would have made X amount of dollars. Now we're making only this. Phil Spencer said it himself in court that PlayStation is more profitable. What the hell are y'all talking about? It's just sheer numbers. More gamers are going to engage with a la carte purchases than they are going to engage with the subscription service. You have a subscription service that has $30, $40, $50, $60 games in it. 400 of them that you're giving away for $10 a month. That right there, you talk about unsustainability, that right there is not sustainable unless the revenue that you generate is higher from the subscription service than the revenue that you would have generated from said games a la carte. If that isn't the case, that is a loss. You don't just look at the sheer number of revenue. You got to look at the revenue earned versus the revenue potential. So if you look at this game, look at the demographic who it's for. All right, we project, and you come out with the highest projections of revenue for said game. If we sell it a la carte, we'll get this. If we bundle it with this, we'll get this. You know what I'm saying? You look at the different revenue tracks that you can introduce for said game. You look at the highest revenue track and you say, okay, the highest potential that we can get for this game is if we do this. But instead, we want to do this. If you don't reach that highest potential level, it's a loss. It's definitely a loss. In order for it to not be a loss, you have to believe that Microsoft can't sell 6 million copies of their own games, current and backlog. You have to believe that. Number two, you have to believe that they are not going to get, here, let me do this. Let's do 1 billion divided by, let's say, what's 30% of, hold on. 70 times 0.3 is 21. Okay. So we got to do that times 1. So that's 21 billion. No, what am I doing? No. I did that wrong. Sorry. Divided by 21. So you gotta believe that Xbox cannot do a combination of 6 million in sales of their own games a month, and they can't sell 15 million third-party games a month. That's what you got to believe. I want to show you guys something. Let's do this. VG. We'll go to VG charts. Oh no, that's the wrong chart. All right, so how come they don't have the Xbox One? So I'm going to say, I think that's $1 billion. This is okay. So let's go. Let's use. They have the PlayStation 4 here. How come they don't have the Xbox One? Oh, because I guess the Xbox One didn't give their numbers. Okay. So how long was the PlayStation? Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna say the Xbox 360 was around from. I would say that they were selling games from 2005. When was the 360 no longer supported? I'm gonna say let's say 2017. Let's say 2017 is when Xbox. So we're gonna say 12 years. So 12 times 12 is 144. And so what I need to do is I need to take how many sales that the 360 had, which was $1 billion, and divide it by 144. So let's do something real quick. Okay, so 1 and divide it by 144. Okay. So if you go by, I want to say, when was the last time they updated this? Hold on. Damn it. I wish I could. All right, let me do something here. Because I got a number that supports my theory, but I don't want to oversell it. Software. Damn it. Okay. Damn it. Golly. Okay, so the most successful Xbox, which was the 360, sold 7 million games a month. They sold 7 million games a month. Globally. And it might be more than that. That's why I said I think I'm overselling. I probably here. Let me do this, because I think this number represents not maybe. Let me take off 2 years, so I'll say 120. So let's take 1 billion. Divided by 120. So the most successful Xbox sold about 8.3 million games a month. So you're trying to tell me that the Xbox Series cannot sell 6 million games a month, a combination of their games and multi-plat games, which they're getting a 30% royalty on? Are you trying to tell me they can't do a combination of that to reach 1 billion a quarter? Of course they can, and they can do more. So they're losing money on Game Pass. Don't look at the $1 billion figure and say, oh, they're making $1 billion. That's a lot of money. Oh my gosh, Game Pass is no. Game Pass is still a bottleneck in revenue at its current subscription level. It's a bottleneck. You have to have at least 2 to 4 times more subscribers that Game Pass currently has to overcompensate for its lower subscription price versus what the a la carte purchase revenue would be. So to use King Thrash's example, it is losing money because the a la carte retail potential is this. And with this, and the subscription levels are down here, they are that. So you're losing money. That, and then let's not talk about the fact that for the third-party games, you got to buy those. You got to buy those games and put them in Game Pass. It's not like the a la carte games where someone just comes to your platform and says, hey, yeah, I'll put it on there. Unless you're someone like a Stadia where your subscription service is so low, or I mean, not your subscription, your gamer base is so low that you got to pay for ports. Xbox isn't paying for ports. I don't think they are. But now they're paying for you to come to their platform. To come to not their platform, but to come to Game Pass. So that's even more that you're losing. It's a loss. So y'all need to start understanding the loss aspect of Game Pass and why the subscription service at its current levels are not sustainable, hence why you're seeing this new move. Secondly, you got to understand that the average gamer does not feel a need to play a bunch of games. Gaming is dynamic. The subscription service works off of a binging mechanic. The average gamer doesn't feel like that they need to binge games. Why? Because if I just buy my 2 games a year, every time I boot up Call of Duty with my friends, it's a different experience. Every time I boot up Apex Legends with my friends, it's a different experience. The same games provide different experiences. So I don't need a whole bunch of games. The average gamer does not play a whole bunch of games. So Game Pass as it's designed is a niche novelty in the first place. On top of that, instead of sitting there trying to drum this beat that PlayStation is in trouble, PlayStation is trouble. Yeah, you can talk your stuff, but a lot of that focus should have been diverted to Xbox. You got to make better games. You got to make better games. You got to make better games. Because look, if Xbox makes better games, maybe you don't get a Game Pass because they don't need it. They don't need to take that loss. They can look at their games and show that they're valuable, just like PlayStation games are. Maybe they're still more forward thinking and putting their games on the cloud. Maybe they're still forward thinking and putting their games elsewhere. Maybe what Game Pass is Game Pass is an avenue for you to get a back catalog of games, including theirs. Like all of their games will eventually make it there within a year. Maybe that's what Game Pass is. Because they see value in their games like PlayStation. But none of this works if your games don't have value individually. They gotta have individual value. And if they don't, you can't compete in the space at all. But if Game Pass, as we see it now, still does exist, if they still want to loss lead that way, you have a better opportunity for your exclusive desires to come to fruition if Xbox's games are better and they draw people to the ecosystem. They just aren't. So because of this dynamic, they're not drawing people to the games on their own. And then they're placating to you, the rabid fan base. And you're still not doing your job. You're not highlighting these games. They made it so easy for you to do that. It's no wonder why Xbox is abandoning you now. I don't blame them. And with that, I don't feel sorry for you, but I end the commentary part of this podcast. Let's go to the chat and then we're going to close out. Paul G Forever says, I don't play anything Bethesda. Their games never interested me. You know what? I don't mind Bethesda games. They are not as potent as they used to be. I said that on the podcast way before Xbox. It was known that Xbox was going to buy them. I said that on Scrampunk's Paul G a long time ago, even after defending Fallout 76. Because when I defended it, I didn't say, oh, it was the game of the year. I gave it a 7.5. I was just like, the pile on is ridiculous, but even with that said, yeah, they lost their luster. That's why I floated to Ubisoft. That's why Ubisoft is my favorite publisher now. And I love Ubisoft Plus. Paul G also says revenue is everything. Revenue is life, according to bots. Yep. And then last but not least, he says, when Game Pass ever turns a profit, everyone will know. Phil will sing from the highest mountain. And yeah, exactly. But right now, it's a loss. It's a loss in the purest sense, because if they left these games a la carte, Microsoft would be making so much more money. And nobody cares about a new business model if it's making less money than another business model. You can't just sit there and say, oh, I'm doing something new and it's making less money. That's not enticing to investors. The thing that's enticing investors about what Xbox is attempting is they're saying, look, we have models that show to where we can bring in more money this way. It's just going to take time. We're going to have to loss lead it first, and then we'll bring in more money later. That's what's enticing. But it's not enticing if this is where they're at. If there's 25 million or even maybe 30 million or slightly above 30 million, that's not lucrative, because you could be making more money if they were doing it the old way. You gamers have to understand this. So yeah, I don't feel sorry for you. Microsoft, you do what you got to do now. I hope that this leads to you being more transparent and letting us know where you go. And then you can get my respect because I like PC Game Pass. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed that Nintendo left the AAA gaming space, but I'm not mad at them because of how honest they were in doing it. As long as you pick up a habit of being honest too, I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm gonna be disappointed because that just leaves the playing field to PlayStation, and I don't like that proposal. Because again, if they're the only ones competing in that space, then they lose incentive to be as sharp as they are. But with that said, at least you're being honest. It's your business to run how you want to run it. Just be honest about it. That's the problem. But you doing what you have to do based upon the current dynamics, and because you placated to a fan base that didn't do their part, like the PlayStation fan base did their part. Yeah, they talk stuff on Microsoft, our games are better, but they show you why they're better. These people aren't playing games. They're just talking stuff and, hey, pony. It's not helping. All right, with that said, that's it for your boy. I appreciate all of y'all. Thank y'all so much. And until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.